Good evening, and I think that we are live now. Good evening, guys.
Hey.
Good evening.
Good evening. Before I will introduce you guys and tell you what we're gonna talk about tonight, I want to check first of all in our Amazon Nonstop group if we are broadcasting, so it will take a second. Meanwhile, how are you? How do you feel?
Wait a minute. Okay, I see it's working pretty good. I can see us in here. I don't know if people can hear us, but I can definitely see us.
How do we look like? Good?
I look good. You look good. Yeah.
Okay. I can see that we are broadcasting. We already have a few viewers. So as I told you before, we will wait for all the people that are a bit late tonight. It will take 5-6 minutes, and then we will start to introduce you guys and tell what we're going to talk about tonight. And meanwhile, I will explain to the viewers in Hebrew what's going on here. So, חברים יקרים, ערב טוב לכולם, ערב טוב לכל הצופים המצטרפים אלינו לקבוצת אמזון נונסטופ. אנחנו פה כמו בכל שבועיים עם הלייב השבועי. כמו שאתם רואים, יש לנו פה הרבה פרצופים על המסך. תכף אנחנו נעשה לכם סדר ונסביר מה הולך לקרות היום. לפני הכל אני אשמח לשמוע שכולם רואים ושומעים אותנו, ואז אני מבטיח לכם, אני אתן לכם את כל האינפורמציה הנדרשת כדי שתבינו מה כבר הולך לקרות פה היום ועל מה אנחנו הולכים לדבר. אז אני ממש רוצה לשמוע את התגובות שלכם, האם רואים ושומעים אותנו. Okay, so I will wait for the response from the viewers. I want to be sure that everybody can hear and see us well. Meanwhile, I will share the live in other group and in my personal profile, because we want more people to enjoy and get that important information that we're going to share tonight. So me and you guys, Gilad, you're more than welcomed to share that live.
On it.
Sorry?
I'm on it.
You're on it. So yeah, I'm going to do it as well. And we are still waiting for all the people who are a bit late. As I told you, everybody now prepare themselves to the holiday. So many people went to buy costumes. So it's a great opportunity to say to everybody, happy holiday, Purim Sameach.
Happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, guys, you should join. You should come to Israel once in Purim. It's seriously, it's very special experience.
Marcin, do you have in Poland also you're celebrating something similar, because Halloween is for USA?
Yeah,
Yep.
we kind of stolen the Halloween from US. So it slowly starts to kind of come in, because during that time we actually have like a very sad day. It's like the Death's Day or whatever. But then Halloween is kind of bringing more fun aspect the day before, which is great. So we have that. And besides that, we also have like a period of partying where you kind of tend to organize parties where you dress up and all that. And it's around, I think it was last month or something like that. I don't even know. But it's usually like kids at school and all that. They tend to dress up. But we don't have anything like specific that you could dress up as Pikachu or whoever else.
Yeah, this is how everything started in our conversation before. We saw the Pikachu behind you. Yeah,
yes.
and instead of talking about Amazon and how to prepare your business for selling, we talk about Pikachu and Ken. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So we have many viewers now, and I think this is a great time to introduce you and to tell to people or to give them a hint what we're going to talk about. So I will change to Hebrew and then we will start. Okay? אז חברים יקרים, אני רואה שאנחנו כבר באחוזי צפייה ממש יפים. כמו שאתם רואים, אנחנו נמצאים במסך מפוצל, הרבה דמויות פה. אתם תכף תבינו שהדמויות האלה יכולות לעזור לכם, בין אם אתם כבר עמוק בתוך העסק שלכם באמזון או רק בהתחלה. אנחנו הולכים לדבר פה היום, אגב, אני לא בדיוק יודע על כל הנתונים, ואני לא באמת עשיתי את ההכנה המושלמת, אני הולך ללמוד בדיוק כמו כל אחד ואחד מכם את המידע שהם הולכים לחלוק איתנו היום, אבל אנחנו הולכים לדבר היום על כיצד להכין את העסק שלך למכירה באמזון. איך אנחנו עושים את זה? על זה ידבר איתנו מרצ'ין, שנמצא בחלק השמאלי של המסך שלכם, ובחלק הימני אנחנו רואים את קן, שהוא ידבר איתנו היום על העסק שהוא הקים, שמשקיע בחנויות שהגיעו כבר לאיזשהו שלב של עסק קטן או בינוני, והוא רואה בהם פוטנציאל הרבה יותר גדול, והם קונים אותם בסכום X ודוחפים ומקדמים את העסק קדימה, כדי בסופו של דבר להרוויח עליו סכומים כהשקעה. מי שנמצא בצד הימני של המסך שלנו למעלה, זהו גלעד פריימן, כולנו כבר מכירים אותו, כוכב, כשאני הולך איתו ברחוב אנשים מבקשים חתימות, אבל אני שוב אציג אותו, גלעד המייסד של אקדמיית של VA פיליפינס, שזהו גוף שפשוט דואג לכם לכל מה שתצטרכו בנושא של עובדים וירטואליים פיליפינים לעסק שלכם באמזון. אז כולנו הולכים לשלב, כמובן אנוכי איתכם גם פה, יגאל רז, וכמובן אנחנו הולכים לשלב היום בין ארבעתנו את כל הנושאים שקשורים באמזון, איכשהו אנחנו נקשר את זה בצורה שתצא לכם מעניינת, ותבינו שבאמת יש פה קשר בין כל אחד ואחד מהדמויות. So guys, this is a great time to start. Marcin, I think that it's a great time to introduce you. I told about you in Hebrew, but I think that it's a better idea that you will tell about yourself, about your business that you sold a few years before, about your experience, and okay, let's start.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, so first maybe a few words, and then later on in the conversation we're going to go deeper into, you know, some subjects there. So yes, I'm Marcin Chaszczewski. I'm from Poland. I used to live in Ireland for 12 years. Now I'm back home in Poland. So yes, in 2014 I started my journey on Amazon. And then successfully I have sold my Amazon brand after 3 years, I think. So 2017, I've sold the business. In the meantime, I also was helping Amazon sellers systematize their business because I am kind of a systems freak. I tend to make sure that, you know, if there's ways to, you know, do less and make more, that's definitely, you know, my expertise. So systematization is obviously that one of those ways. Personally, I am a father of a 7-year-old, as you can see there. Pikachu is watching, and I also like to talk how entrepreneurs should try to spend more time with their kids. But if I start talking about that, nobody's interested. So then I talk about systematization, which is kind of the same thing. So then I can sneak in some of the, you know, parenting information through my you know, content there. Yeah, and I help basically Amazon sellers start systematizing. I work with people who have like zero systems. They just work like crazy. They have no structure, nothing in their business, in their day, and I tend to help them to basically, you know, work more efficiently and more, in a more systematized way. But also, you know, because we have Ken here, systematization also has it's an important factor in selling your business, because I'm sure it's way easier and way better to buy a business that has some structure in it rather than buying a mess. So it works for me, and I'm helping others with that. So I guess that's from me for now.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so Ken, could you tell us about yourself a little bit?
Yes. So evening, everybody. Ken Kubec, VP of Acquisitions at Thrasio, and Thrasio is an Amazon FBA acquisition and acceleration company. So we're a wholly owned company, and all we do is effectively buy Amazon FBA businesses and kind of put them through our machine and accelerate the growth. We got started in really the summer of 2018, but we didn't really start acquiring in earnest until the beginning of last year, 2019. Myself, I spent probably 13 years in investment management. So I was a stock picker investing in small cap technology stocks. And then I got connected with an entrepreneur in Boston who actually owned an $15 million a year Amazon business. And then he was starting an Amazon software company. So I came on as COO to run his Amazon business for 2 years, and then also helped on the software side. So I got to get a great landscape of the Amazon marketplace, the sellers, interacting with sellers on a daily basis. And then I joined Thrasio to run acquisitions. So when I joined in November, I was the 8th person in the November of 2018. I was the 8th person in the company. We had just gotten started. Fast forward to today, I mentioned earlier, pre-call, we have over 150 people in the company. We've acquired over 45 different Amazon FBA brands, with sizes ranging from 1 to 40 million in annual revenue. And similar to Marcin, myself, I'm first and foremost a father. I have 4 kids, so 9, 7, 5, and 20 months, which keeps me busy, which is why I was looking forward to a week in Prague. And it's awesome and it makes everything worthwhile. But it's been great being in the Amazon ecosystem now for probably the past really 3.5, almost 4 years myself. And I just love it. I get to talk to every entrepreneur, every company we buy. I strictly negotiate with our CEO and the owners. So I talk to every owner that we've purchased. I have build a rapport and relationship with them, and even the ones we don't. So it's great to just speak to sellers. I probably field on average 5 to 6 phone calls a day with different entrepreneurs, looking at their businesses, consulting them, talking to them about selling their business and what the process is, and then we can get into the process later on.
Well, it's a very interesting business. And Gilad, I have a question for you. How is your business related to the guys that we have here?
Well, it goes like this. Everything is related, and it's incredibly easy and to understand, because it's built it's connected so much that you cannot really understand how things cannot go that way. I'm talking all the time to sellers on Amazon, and you can definitely see the difference between a small seller or somebody who's thinking small and he's not really interested into growing his business, or he's just taking it one step at a time and not taking the risk and not really understanding the importance of delegating the work to VAs in order to grow. And once you understand this, once you understand that in order to run a company at Amazon, you have to consider it as a business, as everything else. And there is no difference between creating your own company outside of Amazon or managing Amazon store. You have to focus and work at it as the same thing. So once you understand that you're the owner of the company and you have to have VAs to help you in your business, and you have to start giving them assignments and deciding who is doing what, and so everything is starting to grow faster. And then you understand that it's not just to have a VA. You can have a VA, a great VA. You can have a team of VAs working for you, but without a structure, without a system, then nothing will work. And this is where Marcin actually comes to the picture. Where we met in Manchester in a conference where we were both speakers. And we talked, and we're working together. We're in constant communication because it's related so much that the people that have VAs, they're also needing a structure, and that's the only way that they can really upscale their business. And a lot of time people don't understand. They think, okay, I will create a business, I will make a lot of money on Amazon, and then I will find somebody to buy my business, and that's it. But they don't understand that if they continue to be the only person in their company, the one that started the business, looking for the products and looking for the supplier, contacting all the time with the Chinese supplier or any other supplier, doing the customer service, doing the PPC, you're doing everything by yourself. So then eventually nobody will buy you, because if I'm a buyer now and I have to decide, okay, I want to buy this company, but wait a minute, what will happen when the owner leaves? Now, who knows what to do with the PPC? Who knows where to get the keywords? Who knows how to do the customer service? Nobody knows it, because it's everything related to the seller that left.
Yeah.
So this is where it's so important to have the systematization. And I'm sure that Ken will also talk about it now, that this is one of the things that he's looking when buying business. Ken Actually, we never met. We're both supposed to be speaking in Prague in next week. Hopefully, we'll both be there. Depends on the coronavirus. But we're also speaking over there about delegating and selling your business. So it's all connected, and I'm as you said, Igal, before, I'm very interested to see where this conversation would lead.
Yeah, no, I would just say that to second Gil's point, I mean, I've talked with I've probably looked at over 400 Amazon FBA businesses over the past 18 months, and I can attest to, you know, our average deal size has been kind of 3 million or so in revenue, and at that scale, your typical Amazon business probably has 3 to 5 VAs helping them out. I mean, the only time I've seen businesses scale to that point without VAs is if it's one hero SKU or ASIN, and it's easy to manage. But I mean, your high level successful Amazon sellers are definitely leveraging VAs, no question.
But you know what, Ken? A lot of times people, it's like the chicken and the egg game, because people think, okay, the business will grow and will grow and will grow, and once I get to 50K a month or 100K a month, then I will have enough income to allow myself to start working with VA, when it's actually the opposite. If you want to grow your business, you will have to start delegating, and so you can focus on the growth.
Yep.
Exactly. A similar thing with the chicken and egg is building systems and structure. Like I talk to people where they don't have any VAs yet, and they are considering getting one, but I can't convince them to get one. Although I believe you should get one way earlier than you think you should. But then what I say is that you need to systematize yourself first. So, you know, let's imagine I introduce them to the concept of like task management, right? And I tell them, okay, you set up a task and you assign this task to yourself. And like, that's weird, right? Like, why would I do that? Well, first of all, you don't have anybody else, but you're developing that habit, right? You're like, okay, this task, who does that task? That person is responsible for that task. So again, you know, there's so much work to do before you think you should do something. Is that the easiest way and the best way is just to start like as early as possible. Even if you don't have VA, you should just start then. But then when you have a VA, you should start thinking about selling and building. So, you know, there's always that thing that we're trying to convince people to actually start earlier with the whole process.
Okay. So, Marcin, can you tell us more about the process of selling your business, of like, you know, transferring your business from one person to other?
Sure. Yeah, I can talk about my particular situation. I have some NDAs and all that, but generally speaking, it was a, how do you call it? A personal buy. It wasn't like it wasn't a purchase done by a fund or a big company. It was just a sale between two small companies. So I'm sure the process is different if you work with, for example, Ken or like funds or the big acquisition firms. So for me, I worked with a broker, and basically we went through the whole process of evaluation of the business. You know, filling out all the necessary forms in terms of you know, revenues and profits and all that stuff. So to be sure that all the numbers are correct. But before that happened, you know, people also need to know that you need to make sure that your business is attractive for the buyer, right? And the way I look at it is we're selling on Amazon, and we do our best to be sure that our product is different than, you know, the other product on the first page. But you need to put yourself in the shoes of the buyer, right? Like, he's in the same shoes as the buyer on Amazon, and he looks at two similar businesses that may have the similar numbers. And then the question is like, why would they choose yours? And again, Ken will talk more about that, I'm sure. But just for my case, there were a few aspects that made my business more attractive than a few of the other ones. And the one that we and other experts talk about all the time, which is brand and product differentiation. And, you know, it's for many sellers, it's probably already a boring subject, but it's never enough to talk about how putting a logo on a product is not building a proper brand and proper business. Fortunately, I went really deep into product differentiation using, custom molds, custom designs, and basically making sure that my products were completely different. So that was obviously the key. The other key, of course, was the systematization. And I know it firsthand from the broker and from the buyer, was that, the fact that they took over the business pretty easily, and the handover period.
We lost Ken. Oh, okay, he's here again. I'm sorry.
Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So again, the handover period was very short in my case, and again, it was almost having few phone calls here and there, and then me directing them either to a company wiki or directly to a procedure that we had or a process. So in a way, I didn't have to spend all this time worrying about the transition period, because even if you haven't sold your business, if you actually imagine selling your business, the handover period is probably the least favorite part of the selling of your business, because you almost feel like, oh, I'm done, right? Like, okay, I'm done, I'm all happy. And then depending on your periods for the handover, it could be a month or 6 years or a year or even more. You're like, okay, this is going to be the worst year of my life, potentially. So you want to be sure that period is either the shortest possible or as smooth as possible. If the agreement says it's long enough, just make sure it's smooth. And systematization helps you with that.
Can you give me any example of systematization? Like,
okay, so let's imagine, let's imagine you have a VA that helps you with stuff, but everything is documented. So it's not that only you can have a conversation with your VA and they understand you and they know exactly what you mean. But then when you're gone, your VA is kind of left only again with whatever they remember. It's like everything is documented, and I heavily promote using some kind of a wiki system, company wiki, which basically, for listeners who don't know what it is basically a place where you would store the information that is needed for performing a task, most likely the second time. So as in my opinion, if something happens at least twice, it needs to happen again, then it should be going into the wiki. And then imagine during the handover period, there's some question from the new buyer, how do you do that? And all you have to do, check this, you send them a link and like, check this procedure, it's there, or ask the VA to guide you to this procedure. And again, the new buyer may change things and they may do things differently, and that's often the case, of course, but at least during the initial period, it's all there, right? So, again, we can talk later deeper of like what systematization is, but wiki is like integral part of any systematized business.
Marcin, what happened to the VAs? I mean, once you sold the business, they sticked with you, or they went to the seller?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in my case, we had an actual line in the contract that the VA will stay with the new buyer. I think again, I don't remember exactly, and I'm not sure if I can talk about it, but I think it was maybe 2 months or something like that. And what in reality happened was that my VA stayed longer because she was happy to work with the new buyer, and he was happy to have her. So that was good. But again, I need to say this, that case will only happen if your relationship with your VA is, good, right? It's, if you're not looking after your VA, and again, Gilad will probably talk about that, is they will use this opportunity to go somewhere else, or to vanish, or to not support you. While if you build that relationship and actually talk about the sale, the selling of your business with your VAs, and maybe agree some kind of a bonus and all that, like that's what I did in my case, then that the fact that VA was, kind of transferred to the new business was great for the buyer, was great for her, was great for me. She got a bonus. Everybody was happy. So so again, that's important to kind of preface that with your team.
Amazing. Okay, so Ken, I have a question for you now.
Yeah.
Okay. In general, like, what is the process that happen when somebody want to sell his business? Like, what are the steps? They contacting with you, or you looking for us? How does it work?
Yeah. So for us, we have a pretty streamlined process that's quick and efficient. So again, I deal directly. My contact information I make very publicly available. We can decide, I would say, within a few days, whether or not it's a business and the products that we'd be interested in. So we run some upfront market analysis and product analysis, and that gives us either a go or no go decision, which I communicate as quickly as I can to the seller. And then from that point, as you can imagine, if you don't have the processes in place and even just accounting a profit and loss statement, that can be a roadblock to some sellers. If you do go to a broker, you need to have financials all put together. They work with you. That might take a month, 2 months, 3 months to even get ready to go to market. For us, we've actually built a script out where we can help the seller build a P&L pretty quickly with some limited seller essential access or even just transaction reports. We have a automated script that can parse everything. So it's one of the beauties of consolidating businesses in the Amazon space is that there's a canonical source of data within Seller Central. So the actual financial due diligence piece is pretty quick and obviously very accurate. The only thing we really need is the cost of goods sold, a master worksheet that we can tie every unit sold to, the cost of goods sold. And from that point, so, we move, I would say within a week or so, we either are presenting an offer and negotiating with the seller. Once we sign the letter of intent, that kicks into formal due diligence where we actually reconcile the financials through bank statements, et cetera. And that period's probably 3 weeks. So from the moment we sign letter of intent to the first draft of the actual purchase agreement is about 21 days. There's some back and forth there, and then we're typically signing the asset purchase agreement within 30 days. So it's a very tight due diligence period. During that period, we have a series of calls, a supply chain call, a marketing advertising call, and then a general operations / customer service call with key stakeholders within our company and the brand manager who's going to be taking over the day-to-day management of the brand. And then to speak to the migration period, I think that's a big worry and concern of sellers. And I think one of the big differentiators of Thrasio as an acquirer is that we don't require hardly any commitment from the seller once the account is migrated over to us. So we sign the deal 30 days. It's signed. There's usually a 7 to 15 day migration period of the account over to us. So switching out, within Amazon and giving us ownership rights to the account. And then effectively, once that's done, there's not, a 60, 90, 120 day, 10 hours a week consulting commitment that we tie the sellers to. We have the expertise, the SOPs, all internally to run these businesses. And so the owner's kind of free once the account's migrated to go, clear their head, turn, 90 degrees and go in a different direction. So I think that we're very differentiated in that. So nice. There's a lot of value in that to some sellers, and some sellers want to, we're not going to be the highest. We're not going to be the highest bidders in an auction for a business. We're just not. We're very disciplined buyers, but there are a lot of, we close over 90% of the deals that we sign letter of intent with. I've heard horror stories of people being in due diligence for 6 months, 7 months. The seller's trying to line up financing. We have over $150 million of capital, so we can pay for inventory at close. We can pay the cash consideration at close. There's really no concerns on funding. So it's kind of once we sign letter of intent, I think it's pretty safe to assume within 60 days you're going to have your money and you're on to your next venture.
Amazing. Sounds like a dream. And another general question, like what type of business do you buy? It's like I'm talking about size, value of business.
So we look at anything from 1 to 40 million in annualized revenue.
Okay. 130 million.
Yeah, 1 to 40.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And in terms of categories, we have we more so have disqualifiers versus qualifiers is what I like to say. So we don't do anything in food. We don't do anything in high fashion. We'll look at staples, so compression, gear, uniform sizing, small, medium, large. We'll look at that. And then supplements is an area that we've shied away from. It's kind of ground zero for black hat tactics. We try and do everything above the board. We're building we think is going to be ultimately $1 billion plus enterprise here. So we don't want to put anything at risk for making a quick dollar. And it's just also the legal liabilities around claims, et cetera, is a very tenuous area for us. But outside of that, we own everything from home and kitchen to baby products to auto products to sports and outdoors, lawn, office, kind of across the board. What we're really looking for is leadership position within their market. So I like to say I focus on R cubed, which is reviews, rating, and rank. So do you have the review quantity and quality, importantly, to rank in the top 5, top 10 for your category? Do you have the product rating that puts you, kind of in the top of your category from a quality standpoint? And then are you ranking organically for a high volume or even, it might be tail volume keywords, but are you ranking organically, i.e. you're not spending 20% of revenue on advertising just to get ranked and then fall off the page? Do you have the staying power, which the first two, provide in the Amazon ecosystem?
Okay, amazing. And can you tell to our viewers, can you give us any simple formula how to calculate the value of our business?
Yeah, so what we do is, and typically everybody in the marketplace values the business on a trailing 12 months. Seller's discretionary earnings is the term. And it's effectively the net profit of the business. So Amazon profitability, which backs out minus advertising expenses on and off of Amazon. And then any general and administrative costs that the business has. So it could be a 3PL, it could be software that they're using, any other just your day-to-day expenses. If you have VAs on your P&L, that would go in there. But you would add back anything that you took out of the business as an owner. So let's say you pay yourself. Let's say your business generates $500,000 of net profit, and then included in that is you took out $100,000 of salary for yourself as the owner. You would add that back, so your true SDE would be $600,000. And then what buyers do is they apply a multiple to that number. So it's your trailing 12 months net profit or SDE. And then they'll apply a multiple to that. And this is where it gets, everybody has their own ideas of what multiples to pay. There's different payment tranches that you could get. Some people want everything up front. Some people want it staged out. Typically how we price our deals, and we've, done 45 of them, and everyone, I would say 95% have fit this structure. We will pay roughly 70% or so of the total deal economics in the upfront payment, so that you would get that within basically the 45 days post the migration of the account. And that's usually that multiple has ranged anywhere from like 1.7 to kind of 2.5. I would say the average for our upfront piece has been around 2.25 times. And then we offer a stability payment, which is effectively into traditional M&A environments. You have what's called a seller's note, and it's basically a guaranteed payment, but it's just deferred a year. So it's the seller helping to fund the purchase of the business to the buyer. And we have a little bit of parameters around that, and we'll just say if revenue's flat or 95% of trailing 12 months, then you'll get another bonus payment. And then the most variable piece is we'll offer performance payments. So we'll allow the seller to participate in the future upside of the business that we can bring. So we'll say, all right, in addition to the upfront payment, the stabilization payment, we'll offer you a performance payment whereby we'll give you 50% of every incremental dollar of profit that we generate in the business over the trailing 12 months of which we acquired the run rate. So in the previous example, if you're doing a business that's $600,000 and we're able to grow it, double it, you'll get another $300,000 bonus payment at the end of year one as well. And those can be 2 years, and that we're very flexible in how we structure our deals. But oftentimes, we do those because oftentimes the seller, they want to de-risk their balance sheet and sell the business, but they also feel as though they're leaving a lot of money on the table. Clearly we're not going to pay them for the hope of that coming to fruition. But if they think the business has the ability to double or triple in 1-2 years, which, depending on the size of the business, we've seen it, we've done it, it's possible. We want to allow them to participate in that future growth so they don't have the fear of missing out, and allowing, as you guys know, anything can happen on Amazon. You could wake up tomorrow and your account's suspended, right, without any forewarning, and now you have $300,000 of inventory. You don't know how to liquidate it. You can't liquidate it, and you're staring down the face of bankruptcy. It's there's a lot of risk still in the platform, which is why kind of the multiples are where they're at. But we have the ability to take a portfolio approach. We're managing thousands of products on a daily basis, and so we can disperse that risk a little bit, and we know that, and that's why we also want to reward the sellers in that if they're selling us a great business, we want to allow them to participate in the future of that business as well.
Amazing.
Are you looking for stability in the with the seller? They should have an account of more than X amount of years, or the product should be up and selling for a certain period. Or if I have a hit product and it's selling really, really good and it's over $1 million, between 1 to 40 million a year, that's enough for me to sell the business.
At least for 12 months period, just so we can see the run rate of the business, because that's kind of what helps determine the multiple that we pay up front. So if the business is on a huge growth curve, right, it's going to be at the high end of our multiple range. But if it's flatlined or it's decelerating, or I talk with the sellers to see maybe they had rolling stockouts, and we try and give them credit for that, etc. But yeah, it's for us, honestly, I think this is all we do. So we're not scared off if somebody just has 15 months of earning, of running the business. They might not even have a P&L. Maybe all they have is a Seller Legend or Cash Cow Pro, or some third party download that they can send us. We'll work with that, right? Mm-hmm. We'll base an offer, if we like the business, on those numbers, and then we'll actually diligence and build the true P&L. And then if there's differences, we'll reconcile it, kind of pro rata, but it doesn't scare us off, and it's not a hindrance. I know there are some brokers that are telling people, well, we'll bring you to market in 3 months, and then it's going to take another couple months of phone calls and explaining how to sell on Amazon to people. And we're very surgical. My calls are typically a half an hour long, and that's enough for me to get a feel for the seller, get the questions that I want answered, and get to an offer, to be quite honest with you. A lot of people are surprised on how quickly we move, but we know what we know how to do it, and so we don't we don't dance around.
Cool. Ken, somebody of our viewers asking, what is Ken's company name, and do you have any website?
Yeah, so it's Thrasio, Thrasio.
Can you spell it again, because I want to write it in our chat room? Okay,
Thrasio, and our website is just www.thras.io.
.io. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
and then there's like, and if people want to reach out, I mean, my email is Ken, Ken, at Thras.io. So.
Okay, I'm going to write it now. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, you can continue.
Yep.
I'll do it now. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay, and
yeah,
people
so,
can
people can feel free to reach out with any questions about process. I mean, I know I deal with all of the brokers, so if people are thinking about listing with a broker, it depends on the broker, but in the size of your business. But they might request a fee of anywhere from 7 to 15% of the deal value. So I tell people, hey, it might make sense just to talk to us. You can save the fee and a lot of headache and time to market. But they do serve a purpose. I really like a lot of the brokers we work with. I think they do a good job representing businesses. And there's some businesses that want to go test the market out and see if they can get multiple offers on their business. It really comes down to the priorities of the seller and what they're looking for.
Okay, guys, I'm getting messages that I have some problem with my microphone, any noises. So I will try to fix it. Gilad, can you continue and be the host instead of me for a few minutes?
Yeah, sure. Marcin, I have a question for you. I mean, now once you have a business going and it's working good, what do you think are the importance of systematization in your business? I mean, can you when somebody comes to you and show you a business, do you think that the business will grow in a certain way once you will have the systematization going? And how do you approach it? How do you start offering the service, and what do you do actually for it to work? How much time does it take?
Yeah, so basically it all starts with the conversation, but I actually concentrate on obviously I learn about their business, but I really want to dial in of how do they work and what does their day look like. So because it's my brand is called Amazing Work System. So it's not only like the stuff that you implement and the softwares and all that, but also how you actually work every day, how you structure your day. So imagine that you have a person who works from home, and they have it all in their head, right? They wake up, they kind of remember what they have to do. So they start walking around their house and, checking the fridge and eating some chocolate, and then finally, opening their laptop. And the moment they open the laptop, they check their email, and then they don't remember already what they were planning to do related to the business. I always give this example: when you check your email and then you see an email from your supplier from Alibaba, and you're happy because they replied, and you start a conversation on Alibaba chat, and then 1.5 hours later, you're like, what just happened, right? Like the time is gone. So then you close that and you go back to the actual thing you were planning to do. Take, for example, some customs form that you have to fill because of the import stuff. So you're starting to fill the form, but you don't remember all the details about your company, like all the tax numbers and all that. So you start looking for them. You check all your drawers. You're checking, and then you remember, I probably have it on my email. So you open the email again, and then you're back to your inbox, and another 2 hours gone. And and then I always say, and then you hear a doorbell. And it's your wife with your kids, and you're like, what the hell? Right? And there's two options here. You're either lying to them and bragging how productive your day was, or you're deep down, you're like extremely angry that they're back. And that's not really good for a relationship, right? So if you take that example, right, and I talk to people that have that, and they share that, and if you take that example and you go, okay, you need a structure, right? So the first thing we do, we implement a task management system, and it could be different softwares. I personally love and work with Asana. There's different ones. There's Trello, Monday, and all those ones. They're all basically similar, and I don't care which one you use. You should start using one. So basically, the next time let's imagine that, let's go through that example. You have an idea of something you want to do. You basically open your task management system. You put that task in. You give it a date, and if you're just starting and you don't know what to do, you basically give it a tomorrow's date and you close it, right? And you just go on with your life. And then you have another thing you want to do in your business. You open task management, you put it into the system, you give it a day for tomorrow, and you go that through your first day. So then what happens in the morning? Well, in the morning when you wake up, you open your task management system, and there you go. You have tasks to do, right? There's like, all the thinking of what should I do, or the checking email doesn't happen, right? I basically tell people to start their day from task management and actually live inside the task management system. So basically, you have the tasks there, so you have to do them. There is no other way, right? And you just need to get into that habit. And obviously, there's many tricks to get into those habits. But once you do that, that's your first systematized way of working, right? You're not running around. You're not like doing stuff like crazy. You're not reacting. You're just, opening your list. You do those things, right? So that's one thing. And then, I try to structure those people's days so they can actually either decide, depending of their family situation and whatever, like what the hours be, and what's the best way during the day of how to work, and then I convince them to start basically what we talked about already, which is documentation of the stuff we do. And again, if you take that example again, you open the form for customs that you need to fill. So you're not looking through your drawers and through your email about all your tax numbers and all your details. You just go to your wiki, you go search company details, and it's just there, right? And it took you 3 seconds, and you copy and paste. Obviously, you may be missing some information. If you need to search new information, you just paste it back to your wiki. And, like those simple things, those two little things that I force people to do, it can... I get many strange emails of happy customers, right? But some of them, they say literally, it changed their life, right? And it's funny that if you take that leap and change the way you approach things, you will actually implement it in your life, right? You're like, my shopping looks different now, right? It's like. Yeah. So it's getting into that mindset is important, but I always start with like, what do you actually do every day, and are you wasting your time or not, and how to put a structured way of doing those tasks, and that's the first step.
And I just want to comment here. I see businesses from brokers all the time, and I laugh when the prospectus always says, can be run in 5 hours a week, and it's like it took these sellers years of developing SOPs, running their business like day in and living and breathing it to get to that point. Mm-hmm. So to expect that somebody who's maybe never even sold on Amazon is going to take over this business, unless they have the systems dialed in, they have the VAs they're going to stay on. There's no way that, they're going to work 80 hours a week because they're going to be stressing because this is, their business now, right? So I just laugh that it's like, it can be run in 3 hours a week. And it's like,
Yeah.
Unless you put in the hard yards to get to that point, it's fool's errand to think that is going to transfer on to a new owner. So unless you have everything very systematized, unless you have a great team in place with, tons of SOPs that they know how to follow, that you can manage. I think that's a great selling point, and that's why a lot of people are looking at these businesses to buy, right? We know firsthand that's not the case. That's why we have 150 people in the company, right? Running these businesses.
Yeah.
No, I always ask myself, and I ask other people when they are talking about the Amazon businesses, this question: for how long can your Amazon business operate without you being in the picture? For example, if I'm telling you about myself. In June, I'm going to take a 2 weeks trip to Kyrgyzstan. I don't know even if I say it correctly in English. That the name of the country, but it's an area with zero internet connection over there. I'm going to be in the mountains for 2 weeks, and the idea is that the business will continue to get new customers to go in the system, to sell them, and get everything working without me for 2 weeks. But the question remains the same for any Amazon seller: can your business run without you? Can you take a no internet vacation of a day, 2 days, a week, 2 weeks? The idea in the end will be that you can sell your business, which means that you can sell your business, or you can just start another business when your business becomes more and more automatic. And that's the question I think that people should ask themselves if they want to actually sell their business.
Okay, so perfect. So before you, I had the problem with my microphone. So my answer for your question is definitely no. I cannot run. I can't go to vacation for 2 weeks without an internet and let my business run. I think when I will come back, I will see a huge disaster. So guys, give me solutions. How can I systemize my business? Like, is there any?
Well, first of all, realistic approach is also important here, right? It's there are obviously cases that you can prepare yourself, right? You can have an SOP. Okay, what happens if that case happens? Your VA could be, highly trained, or, we're not even talking about VAs. You can have employees and, a second in command that basically will fill in for you. So there are like super weird cases of like Amazon doing weird stuff that you actually have to deal with Amazon. There's things you can deal with through SOPs and trained people. That's fine, but it's still your business, right? You still are responsible for your business. Like you need to be realistic, right? Now I'll like personally will never promise that you're like gone for 3 months and nothing will happen. First of all, nobody can promise that. Second of all, the best people in your team may not handle everything perfectly. So that's one thing. Second thing is what you do is just you reduce the chances, right? You put more cases in of like what things can go wrong, right? You have a nightmare client, like your VAs know how to handle them, right? Your product gets suspended, your VA knows what's the process of like finding out why, trying to get it back, trying to put a case in, have a template for the case and all that stuff. So basically all you do is just reducing the possibilities of things go wrong by having somebody know how to handle them. But again, you could have an amazing 2 weeks where nothing happens. Your VA deals with customer service and you're back and you're all happy. So, start with that mindset and then with adding more complicated stuff. And again, it depends of like, who do you have on your team, right? Gilad will basically, if you work with him, he will, recommend you people who are like good at that or good at that. You may have one VA who's more, customer service kind of a person, but you may have another one who's like really, resistant to all the Amazon weird stuff and is good with dealing with cases, right? So again, it's how you build your team is also important here. So no miracles there, but possible to reduce all those risks, right?
Yeah, sure. So Gilad, do you have a lot of experience with VAs which moved from one store owner to other?
I spoke with several that first of all they want to consider that before even taking the VA. They want to know what will happen if they will sell their business, if they will have to give the VA away or not. It's a question that really varies from one seller to the other. Can answer about this, about his business, about when they're buying businesses. But usually the idea is that if you can build a good system of SOPs and procedures and everything, that you can see that the idea would be that the man from the street could go in, read the SOPs, and understand what to do with them. And then basically you can take another VA that will do it. You have to have a talented VA. You have to have somebody smart enough with great English, with great motivation, capabilities, and so on. But if you have that person, then without the knowledge, they could go and start doing whatever you want them to do. So that's a test that you check if your SOPs
cool. Guys, I have a question for all of you. Raz, one of our viewers, asking, isn't selling an Amazon account is against Amazon policies? This is the first question. Okay, you can answer.
Yeah, it's not. They've as long as you communicate with Amazon.
Okay. So during the process, you communicate with Amazon, and you're letting them know everything that's going on.
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
So that's just something in general. Over communicate your intentions with Amazon, and have it on record, and seek approval before you go changing anything in the back end. And we have an entire we have 5 attorneys on staff. So this is something that we talk with Amazon about it. We know the process, and yeah.
Okay, perfect. So the second question of Raz is, can a person that sold his account start another Amazon business with a new Amazon seller account?
It's so same thing. Just we've talked with sellers that have had multiple Seller Essential accounts. It's the same thing. You just would submit a ticket to Amazon that you've transferred or you sold your business, or even if you're selling in a different category, you can get a secondary account. You just ask. You got to communicate with Amazon. I know they're doing things in terms of as long as you're just above the board. It's when people go behind the scenes and lurk in the shadows to try and get some of this stuff done. It's better just to communicate directly with Amazon. But I know people that I've talked with sellers that have had multiple Seller Essential accounts because they actually just asked for Amazon's permission because they were selling in different categories.
Okay, guys, so wow, it's an hour that has passed very quick. So we have, I think, I don't know, more 5-10 minutes. I want to tell to the viewers that it's a great time to ask questions because not every day persons like Marcin, Ken, and Gilad are with us. Actually, Gilad is almost every week with us, but I'm talking about Ken and Marcin. So you can ask questions. Somebody asked in Hebrew, Kama ole, like what is the price? I'm not sure what he's talking about. And Daniel, can you be more specific? I don't know what your question is related to. And other viewers, you're more than welcome to ask questions. Guys, are you going to see each other in the conference in Prague? Like all of you?
Ask Corona.
I mean,
ask Corona.
That is the intention, but we'll have to see. I mean, traveling from the U.S. overseas right now, I'm kind of just monitoring day by day, to be honest with you. So, but I tend to go to a lot of the conferences throughout the year. So I'll be at Prosper, I'll be at Prosper in Las Vegas later this month. SellerCon in Austin, Texas is a big one from the Amazing Selling Machine. That's in July, I believe. I might actually be speaking at that one. I'm still working with them. So yeah, I go to a lot of the conferences. So my job is I have to know what to ask, what to look for in businesses. So I tend to stay on the forefront of tactics and opportunities within Amazon that sellers are deploying. So, whether it be ManyChat flows or, review gathering, terms of service, violations, black hat tactics, etc. So I network a lot within the industry, within the seller community, within the expert community as well.
Okay.
Your employees, Ken, your employees that are working for you, managing the stores, are they all Americans, or sometimes you're collecting sellers that want to sell their business and say, hey,
so
why won't you start working for us?
Overseas, more so the sellers that stay on will, they can stay on in a consulting basis, and the few that we have had that have done that, it's because they're on the cusp of basically like a great product launch on a version 2.0 or 3.0 of their hero product, and they've put months in developing the product. They have the launch plan ready, and then we'll structure as part of the deal. We'll pay them for what they've done, and then we'll a 50-50 profit share for 2 years on launching the new product, and you could use all of our capital and advertising dollars, etc. Inventory to fund it, and then you just basically get to have fun launching it and reap the benefits of that. But in general, yes, we manage everything internally. So we have a team of the way we're structured is we basically have I call it operational middleware. So we have centralized functions that are led by very senior and experienced operators. So our supply chain for every brand is centralized with our supply chain team. Our head of supply chain ran a $2 billion sourcing P&L at Maersk, which is one of the largest global shippers, and he's got almost 30 years supply chain experience. Our head of marketing has taken numerous companies from 0 to 30, 40, 50 million in revenue, all through Google AdWords, social advertising, et cetera, all D2C, digital D2C brands. So we have that middleware that all those functions are centralized, because if you think about it, you acquire a brand, you put it in the machine, and then as our portfolio grows and grows and grows, if we find one little tweak, we're then able to blow that out through every single brand, right? And then underneath that, we have the day-to-day operators. So we have senior brand managers, and these are individuals that have anywhere from, I would say, 7 to 15 years direct experience in e-commerce. We're hiring a bunch of people from Wayfair right now that have managed categories, Wayfair's private label sites, worked in their FBA equivalent. And so they then oversee 3 to 4 brand managers. The brand managers are responsible for the day-to-day monitoring of the brands, leveraging a team of VAs in the Philippines. So the brand managers are kind of on the ground fighting, monitoring competition, coming up with ideas, new product ideas, new variations they should be launching, price testing, etc. They leverage the VAs, and then they also reach up if they want to launch a new product. They coordinate with marketing, supply chain, etc. To everybody come together and get a holistic view and get all the stakeholders internally around the table to really optimize the next step.
Guys, the question about what is the price basically was related to margin service. So how much margin service cost?
Cool. So basically what I do is I have 2 digital products. One is like an entry product, and it's basically for all the people who are starting. I have a 10 first SOPs that any Amazon seller should implement. So if you're you kind of know what the SOPs are, but you never done one, and you don't want to do, or you want to do them, but you don't want to do, you don't know how. This is the best kind of product. So it's 10 first SOPs everyone should have. And what's good about that product is that you get that, and you're not only getting the SOPs like in PDF, whatever, you're actually getting them in a format that I suggest to implement inside a wiki. So in a way, there's a short training of how to actually implement a wiki. So that's currently for $97. And I do have a special for you guys because I know Gilad for a while now and the group there. So that is priced currently at 50% off. And I don't have any link, whatever. If you feel it's something you're interested in, just add me as a friend and message me directly, and I'll help you out. On top of that, I have a full-blown online course that's 30 hours of material that walks you through everything from like beginning to the end. You end up with a properly, fully systematized business, and that's currently priced at $1,500 or 1,497 exactly, because you have to end up with 7, you know. So that's that. On top of that, I do consulting calls, but the reality of those calls is that if you haven't gone through my course, it's like I'll be repeating myself again. So because I'm a systematized person, I prefer people to take the course and then ask me more questions rather than ask me the basic question first. But I'm always happy to help if anyone needs some help. And, you know, just add me as a friend, and we can chat over the messenger. I can't hear anyone.
Great answer.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Igal, I see that we don't hear you. Your sound is not working anymore. We have some issues with the sound of Igal. So anyway, Marcin, I know that you also have a service that you're escorting businesses for the long run. I know several of your sellers that are taking VAs from us, that you're with them through all the process. So are these sellers taking the course from you, or it's a different service that it's more like
sure. Again, it depends on where you are in your process. So if you're like already super highly systematized yourself and you don't need help there, you just need help hiring VAs. And if you need somebody to walk you through the whole process, I obviously work closely with Gilad and his agency, and I'm 100% happy with the service. But what I tend to find is that people like to have somebody even on the calls. For example, if you're having a interview call, I tend to be on the call like a third person, kind of sitting quietly on the side. But basically, you know, I work with a lot of people over the years, and I kind of know like who may be good and who's not. Sometimes I'm like jump in and ask a few questions here and there that I think maybe the client, you know, missed and didn't ask during the interview. And at the after the interviews are finished, I basically share my opinion about the VAs and the choice, and also help during the initial week of the onboarding. Gilad already provides a lot of super important information on how to onboard people that you get, but I also work one-on-one with people who got their VA and kind of are not sure what to do during the first week or two. So I work with people with that as well.
Yeah.
Right. Can I have a question coming from Ruti? Is there any interest in buying an Amazon seller account which had a good record but has no more inventory left?
Yep. Yeah. If the listings, fit the criteria, yes, we can. I would assume that over the next few months, depending on how long this Corona plays out, that there might be more people in that situation. So yeah, we can look at the historical performance of the business and the current listings and where they would, once they're turned back on, inventory's back in stock, where they would be. But we would want the business to have historically been in the range that we typically look for. Yep.
All right. So we're gonna wrap it up in here. Marcin, last sentence from your end of give your best shot here for people that want to get their business to the next level. What's your tip for them? Basically,
as I said before, look at your day. If you're completely lost, try to implement some structure into what you do. Something you can implement tomorrow is just install Asana or register for Asana and get yourself familiar with a task manager and start putting random tasks and give them to yourself and see how it feels like, what it feels like. And if you have any issues with that, message me.
All right. So first of all, we're gonna add your name and your website and information after that, so people can contact you. Ken, same thing, same question. Like if you have one sentence to tell people that they want to sell their business in the long run, maybe not now, but they're thinking about it. That's the reason that they came in to Amazon, you know, to grow a business and sell it. What's going to be your tip for them?
Yeah, I mean, anybody can contact me whenever they want, to be honest with you. But my tip is, you know, I tell sellers to ride your winners. So oftentimes they diversify too quickly and launch too many products and take their eye off the ball. At the end of the day, you're going to have a few horses that really pull the chariot of your business, and focus on those and fortifying those before you start to branch off and diversify.
All right. So guys, hopefully I'll see you in about a week from now in Prague. But anyway, I want to thank you both for your time and effort in answering the questions of everybody. And on behalf of Igal, who's missing in action in here because he has some kind of a problem with his microphone. So thank you on his behalf as well. And Ken, we're gonna add your name and website also to the
my email too
to our chat after that, so people could contact.
To talk to people, regardless of the stage they're in.
All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna give them your personal phone number as well. Okay. So like this is.
It's the time zone.
All right. So thank you very much, guys. And תודה לכולם שהגעתם והקלטתם. אני פה מסיים את השידור הזה במקום יגאל, אבל היה על הכיפק ונתראה בלייב הבא. ביי בשמו של יגאל.